everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the CoachCon Podcast. So we are up to episode 14. This is possibly the guest that I've been most excited to get on here. It's took a little bit of scheduling, but we are here, so I'm very pleased to say we've got Mr. Anth Bailes joining me today. So Anth, welcome on. Thank you so much for doing this. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry Conrad, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Unfortunately, the last few weeks have been a little bit hectic. We were supposed to do it Friday gone, weren't we? But real life gets in the way and all that stuff.
Certainly does. But we're here now. We've got quite a few little bits to touch on and to go through. So, of course, for yourself, you're very much known as a bodybuilder. Of course, IFBB Pro, tremendous background in that side of things. Of course, winning Mr. Britain and everything like that you've achieved. But of course, your life's kind of changed a little bit now. Of course, away from the competitive side of things. So, how would you describe kind of what you do now? Are you more sort of coaching? Of course, you own a gym as well. So where would you see kind of are now in terms of your journey, if you like?
I've always been quite the same, Connor. I like to keep my hands in a few pies just to keep myself entertained. So obviously I'm partners with Ultraflex with Charlie. I do a little bit of online coaching still. I've been doing online coaching for like 12 years now. I still do a little bit of in-person PT. I've got the hardcore clothing site with Andy. I've got the 100% Pro series supplement line. So yeah, we're plenty busy, Conrad, just because we're not dancing around in the underpants on stage. Trust me, we're plenty busy.
Certainly. So just touching on, of course, the bodybuilding front to kick us off, of course, where you started and really made your name. Something I'd love to know is when you look at bodybuilding now versus sort of when you started, what would you say the biggest difference is, perhaps in the culture, first of all?
I got lots of opinions on this, and I always say, because I don't want to sound like, because sometimes we our other podcast that we have, the 100%, and we make fun of the new school and all that stuff, but I always just say it's different now. It's not any better or worse, it's just very, very different to when I started. Generally, like you went to the gym, you didn't even think about competing back in the day, you just went to the gym, did a bit of training. Obviously there wasn't social media and stuff, there wasn't those outlets then, and there wasn't as many contests back then as well. I mean, when I started out, there was literally like 3 contests in the whole of the Northeast per year.
Wow. I'm
pretty sure there's like one every weekend now type of thing. But yeah, you went to the gym, you lifted a few weights. If you had a reasonably good physique, one of the older guys would say, hey, do you think about getting on stage? I think you do well. And that's kind of how it started. But nowadays you've got guys who are starting in the gym to compete, which is absolutely fine. It's great, gets people in the gyms and stuff. But it's just total 180-degree spin. I never ever thought about competing when I entered the gym. I just, hey, let's go and lift some weights. And it progressed from there. But now it seems a lot of people are literally starting the gym to compete, which again, is good. It's just different. It's just very different from my day. Back in the 60s. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, very, very different. And you didn't get a lot of ladies in the gyms. If a lady came in the gym, it was like, whoa, what's going on here? There's a girl in the gym. But now I would say Ultraflex is wouldn't be 50-50, but there's a large percentage of our members are ladies, which is great to see as well. Because ladies were always intimidated about going to the gym, weren't they? It's like, oh no, we don't want to get too big and muscular and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's great to see a mix of everybody in the gym nowadays.
Fabulous. Yeah, no, certainly I agree. And it's nice to get, as you say, a bit more of a crossover. And I think the attitudes as well are kind of changing a little bit, sort of with the ladies' side of things as well, isn't it? Rather than thinking they're going to get bulky, I think there is a little bit more education coming out now to kind of support them a little bit with that and not getting too overwhelmed as well, which is good to see. So
yeah, and thanks to guys like yourself who are putting some information out there, because I do still get messages from ladies and they'll say, I'm thinking about joining the gym, I don't want to get too big, and I just say honestly, there's guys in there who are taking every supplement under the sun, just smashing themselves to bits. It's not that easy to get too big.
No, certainly. No, I know that all too well. But so, of course, for yourself, with obviously you competed and everything like that, but with the gym itself, did you feel it was an instant obsession, or did it just kind of slowly build up a little bit more for yourself?
Well, there's the thing. So the gym, I actually didn't like going to the gym at first. My uncle Sean took me to the gym for the first time. I used to mess around at home with some weights and stuff, because that's kind of what everybody did. I really didn't particularly enjoy it. I think I got to a weight bench for Christmas one year, you know, the old weeder ones with the sand in and stuff. And my Uncle Sean took me to my first gym. It was Berkeley Gym. And to be honest, I didn't really like it. And obviously, like, you know, shut up, you're going to the gym type of thing. So I've got him to thank for that. It's great because he actually trains at Little Rex now. It's like weird how life takes like a full circle. But anyways, long story. And to be fair, Conrad, it was like I started getting a bit of attention from the women and stuff. That was why I kind of kept up with it. Hey, all young guys are the same. Well, maybe not so much now. And luckily, I progressed quite quickly, and I was looking quite. I was a decent junior, if you like. And yeah, once I started kind of seeing the feedback and the progress, that kind of motivated me to keep going.
And would you say as well that was the point where you thought, yeah, I'm going to take this seriously now and make a career out of it as well, when you saw the potential and what was happening?
I never thought I would make a career out of actual bodybuilding. I always wanted a gym from a young age. So what happened was I used to go to Berkeley Gym with my Uncle Sean. Then I started working at a gym called Flexit. I honestly can't remember how old I was, kind of very young. And unfortunately that gym got closed. No, it didn't get closed, it got sold, sorry. So I was the only sole employee there, the guy who wanted to have me working in there. I used to work there. The gym got sold, so the guy who bought the gym, he worked in the gym. So, you know, I didn't have the money at the time, I was only young, to buy the gym. So I thought, right, you know, I'll work, do whatever job I need to do to save some money, excuse me. And I think I opened Max Muscle. Oh, we might need to do, let's get the calculator out, Conrad. I am so old. So I would have been, when did Max Muscle open? Yeah, I would have been 25, 26 when I opened Max Muscle. That was my first gym, which I had for 18 years.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I was lucky enough to get to train there a few times whenever I was through Hetton, and it is definitely those kinds of gyms are very, I think, important to bodybuilding. You know, it's not all. It's you sort of went in there and you kind of thought, oh, I better work hard. And you know, it was just had an atmosphere. But at the same time, it was very well looked after as well. You know, everything worked, everything like it was clean, tidy. It wasn't just kind of, you know, as they say, spit and sawdust. It was bodybuilding, but it had a certain class to it as well. And do you find you miss Max Muscle as well? It's a silly question, really, but.
I do miss Max Muscle just because of the memories and stuff, and obviously the way I could train back then. Obviously I'm a bit beat up and a bit old now, so I can't, like, I've got all this crazy equipment now, and don't get me wrong, I can still train reasonably hard, but not like back in the day. I have some very, like, fond memories of some awesome sessions in there. Like when you mentioned like a spit and sawdust gym, like just for a gym to be hardcore, it doesn't have to have fucking dog shit in the corner and sawdust work. Yeah, we always kept it clean and tidy, but it just, I think as the atmosphere was more the, like you say, you went there to train. There was no changing rooms. We actually did have some changing rooms. We got rid of them because they didn't get used. We had no showers. We just basically, we had a toilet and a sink, and you just went there to train. And it was awesome memories with Crazy Dave and the boys.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was my first session with me pal Adam. Took us up. He says, "Oh, you've got to try Max Muscle. You've got to make that. You've got to try Max Muscle." About probably 8 or 9 years ago now, DMA, when I first met you. And I think I had a pair of jeans and that on. I'll find the changing robes. Yeah, we get changed the car.
You just get changed. You got changed in the toilet. Yeah, it was, but yeah, it was a special place, Max Muscle.
It was brilliant. So obviously, of course, Max Muscle was very much kind of what you might see on the old school front. Of course, your background is, I would say, very much in the old school era of bodybuilding. You know, the hard graft, the minimal distractions, and obviously this whole new school kind of things came in. And would you say there's anything that maybe the new school guys are getting wrong? Do you think some of those old values, if you like, have been forgotten about a little bit, perhaps?
I mean, we can go through the whole kind of training philosophy, which is a different podcast in itself. But I think nowadays, the main thing I see is guys starting the gym and just expecting things a little bit too quickly. You know, they want to go to the gym for 6 months. They want to enter the first contest, and then they want to get the pro card within the first year. And when it doesn't happen, it kind of, they get really disappointed and they just give up. Christ, I mean, I can't remember how many because everybody thinks I got my pro card on the first go with the UKBFF, but I was competing with NABBA for like 100 years before that. So yeah, I think that's the main thing. Other than we won't go into the whole training thing, because that's a different subject. I think guys, they're just kind of expecting things a little bit too quickly, and they're getting very disappointed when it doesn't happen.
Certainly, yeah. I think just touching on the social media side, you're seeing a lot of these crazy physiques and results, but it's sometimes they're not getting the story behind that of all the work that's got into it, even the years and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
It's just expect the instant fix, and of course I think there's a lot of people that's kind of came into it, coaching and things like that, that are trying to sell these programs and guarantee these results, but you might have all the tools in the world to do, but if you're not implementing everything, you're not going to sort of get to the heights you want, are you really, you know?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is those guys out there that like 5% that do train for 6 months in the year and win everything, but it's very, very rare. It is very, very rare. But even now, it's like, you know, you see all the nice highlight reels on Instagram and stuff, but you get, like you say, you don't know what's happened the years prior type of thing. But hey, there is those genetic freaks out there who can come along and just win everything straight away. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those guys. I had to like bang away for about 20 years first. So
yeah, I was just going to say, of course, you mentioned, of course, the timeline. I believe, am I right? Have I got this right? It was 2012. You became pro, winning Mr. Britain. Have I got that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the UKBFF win. Yeah, 2012 was my kind of breakout year.
With that, you know, obviously, say the breakout year, getting the pro card. How many, you know, really, how many years went into that where you sort of went, right, I'm taking it seriously, and then you've got to that sort of pro card, that end goal almost, if you like?
There's a little bit of a backstory to be fair. So I think I did my first show when I was 18. Unfortunately, there's only me in the class, so I won that. But yeah, you know, got some good feedback. Said, you know, you have good potential, you know, keep going, all that type of stuff. So I think I do apologise. I'm terrible with timelines and dates and stuff. So forgive me if I get this wrong. But I'm pretty sure that I competed up till I was about 23, getting some reasonable placings in NABBA and stuff. You know, I'm class 3, high class, like semi-midget class. Then I stopped competing at 23 because I had a shoulder injury. So I had about a year off for that, like, you know, not a year off, but just working around that type of thing. And at 25, I split up with my long-term partner who I lived with. And I'll be honest, I basically went on like a 5-year midlife crisis. So from 25 to 30, you know, I was out every weekend, going to Vegas and stuff, and just, you know, basically just, because I was very regimented at a young age, I think I just let it loose, you know. Yeah. And at 30 years old, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, so that kind of put the brakes on that. I honestly think it was the big man upstairs that was a sign from him to say, hey, you know, pack this in, you're going to hurt yourself type of thing, because there were kind of heavy weekends type of thing. So at 30, I got back into the bodybuilding, mainly for health reasons, because, don't get me wrong, during that 5 years I was still training and stuff, but I wasn't eating correctly. Because I've always loved the training, that's never been an issue. But I wasn't eating correctly, I wasn't doing cardio, I was, you know, training during the week, going out for a long weekend, starting to get on Monday type of thing. So at 30, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, so then it was like, right, let's get healthy again. So that was 2007. And yeah, my physique kind of progressed really nice. One thing I will say as well is I took everything way back to very, very basic, as in like food. Because of the diabetes, this is where I'm going with the whole basics thing as well. The food, the supplements, you know, even the PEDs, let's be honest, you know, I was a professional bodybuilder that came into this situation. I took that bare basics as well, because I had to be obviously very sensible. And my physique progressed faster than ever. So in 2009, I competed again with some very good feedback. And yeah, it kind of continued from there.
Fantastic. And of course, you touched on there about health based in bodybuilding, and of course now probably prioritising your longevity as well. And for me, I would say you're still in fantastic shape whenever I say you're about, you know. And what's kind of allowed you to be able to do that? Is it just being strict in terms of saying I'm going to be sensible with this and sensible with that? And was that kind of what you'd say, just having to think about things rather than impulse, would you say, on that front?
I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. Trust me, I'm not. I've had like a bit of a weird year, and it's kind of like because I tore my tricep. I've been in a kind of a bit of a limbo because I can't train the way I want to train. I've been a little bit slack with the eating, and I don't mean just eating crap. I really haven't been eating much protein and stuff, and in a little bit of a huff with myself. But I've kind of come to terms that I can't train the way I used to because of the injury and age and all that stuff. So yeah, this year has been a bit of a funny year, but generally I am very obviously health conscious with the nutrition choices and stuff because of the diabetes first and foremost. And again, if you're going to the gym to build muscle, to lose some body weight or get fit, that's kind of the next in line after the gym, isn't it? It's the nutrition. And I think that's where most people fall short. They think just because they have a protein shake when they finish training, that's enough. It's like, it's round the clock, isn't it, really? I mean, to an extent, it depends how far you want to take it. But if you want to be a top level bodybuilder, you're going to have your nutrition in line. I mean, everybody says it's all 50-50 and stuff, and I always give the thing that everything's 100. Like, the chair's only as strong as if it's got one leg missing type of thing.
Certainly. I like that. And you say
because
as
you
well,
get those guys, don't they say it was like 50% nutrition and or 25% rest and whatever. They're all kind of intertwined, aren't they? One without the other is just, it isn't going to work, unfortunately.
Certainly. No, I fully agree. And God, you touched on the food there being essentially like a non-negotiable in terms of health, but is there anything else that you particularly track, say things like, blood work, rest and heart rate? Do you do any sort of sleep tracking, anything like that?
I do wear a Fitbit and I do have an Oura ring. I do think they're very useful tools. I do blood work, obviously I get my blood work on the NHS twice a year anyway, which is a very basic panel. And as of late, I always get an extra blood test once a year, like a very comprehensive, like 55-point check. I'll give youth revisited a shameless plug here. I mean, literally, I got my blood work done a couple of weeks back. I got the blood drawn on the Sunday afternoon, and I had my results back on Monday afternoon, which was crazy fast service. And yeah, there was some things on there that did surprise me. So yeah, guys, just because you're feeling okay doesn't mean that everything is okay. And if there is something to pick up, you better pick it up early. It baffles me that guys will spend like thousands on supplements and other things like whatever you want to call it, performance enhancement, but they won't spend like 150 quid a year on a basic kind of blood panel. It's crazy. It's too expensive.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've noticed, particularly even just in conversations online. Even things that you say in people's comments, certain pages that you see in the back and forths and then it's. I think sometimes people are almost scared to know what might be found on these tests as well. They know from the top.
Yeah, they won't spend 150 on a blood test once a year, but they'll smash like 50 quid worth of Five Guys every weekend. But it's too expensive, yeah.
Certainly.
It's priorities, I guess.
Yeah, no, certainly. And of course, we won't go sort of too much into the train side of things, as we know that's very much like as you say, quite rightly, podcast in itself. But just a couple of sort of questions around it for yourself. How do you balance now sort of the hard training in with training smarter now? How do you find that balance?
I'm still trying to find it, Conrad. So, Matt's been here this week and we're training with Mark today as well. And maybe that, I thought, let's let it put a bit extra on the hoist press type of thing. And honestly, my body lets me know now. It's always just like this far away from something popping off. So, yeah, what I'm basically doing now is, because I still think it's important to move heavy weights, that's relative heavy, is in like what you can move around as heavy. So I'm just trying to do maybe one heavy set, and I'm easing up a little bit on the other exercises because I just can't do it anymore. My body lets me know very, very quickly when I've pushed it a little bit too hard. It's not particularly what I can do on the day, it's like the days prior. Sorry, the days after, sorry. So,
yeah.
See if I go berserk on like deadlifts and I've got legs in 2 days' time, like my lower back's just fried. I can't even like hold myself in the leg extension. So that's a little bit to do with father time as well, I guess.
Certainly, yeah. And obviously you mentioned sort of deadlifts there, and a lot of folks say that's like a bread and butter lift, if you like. That's something that has to be in there. Would you say there's any I know you're very much a fan of sort of the rack pulls and that kind of thing, for example, building the back, but is there anything that you would say is like essential lifts to be doing that you have to do, that every program should have?
I mean, you don't have to do anything, especially if it causes you any discomfort, but I find that most people will avoid something just because it's hard. And honestly, as you age, I even have, you see me PTing an older gentleman called Jonathan. I even have him doing like a short rack deadlift, because I think as you age, you need some kind of, you should be able to pick something off the floor, press something above your head, and push something away from yourself. So just some basic kind of movements. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not deadlifting from the floor like with 500 kilos, but we'll get him doing like a little bit of a short rack pull or something, just to keep that posterior chain kind of strong as well. I mean, you'll find as well, which I found is, I'm not squatting massively heavy and deadlifting that heavy nowadays. My glutes have just kind of disappeared. And I don't mean in like a bodybuilder sense, like, yeah, you need to keep the core nice and active, and the glutes and the posterior chain kind of active. Doesn't matter what age you are, I don't think. So yeah, people just tend to avoid deadlifts because they're hard. It's like most of the other exercises. How many times do you see anybody like barbell shoulder pressing above the head nowadays? And don't get me wrong, we've got awesome machines at Overflex. We wouldn't have spent blooming millions of pounds on machines if they're not any good, but I would still try and say, put something in your routine that works those stabilizers and stuff, and challenges your core, and lifting stuff above your head and picking something off the floor like with a free weight.
Certainly. Yeah, no, I agree. And on the flip side of that, do you feel there's any exercises that are maybe like overrated, that people have kind of jumped on and thought was brilliant, but maybe you don't think that?
I've never liked press behind the neck. I think it's a very dangerous exercise, especially as you get stronger. Maybe you can get away with it in the earlier days when you're not as strong. I've never liked a pull down behind the neck. That's like biomechanically just not a nice movement as well. And I know a lot of guys love this exercise, but the whole cable on the bench thing, that's another podcast. We can speak about that all day. I just feel that we have those machines already there.
Yeah.
That does that movement, and there's, especially during peak times, you got some guy who's got the bench in the middle of the cable crossover, and he's taking like 20 feet of space up just to do this, when we have literally every angle of back machine. But again, everybody likes doing their own thing. I'll leave it at that one.
Certainly. No, absolutely. So just changing up a little bit, sort of again, just kind of the nutrition side of things. In, say, like off-season, when people want to build mass, bulk up, what is it that really builds kind of the tissue and gets people strong?
I mean, you do have to have the protein intake up there. I always used to go with like 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I mean, I know people will say, lean body weight and all that stuff. Just as a rough guide, I would say if I weighed 200 pounds, I would have 300 grams of protein. One thing I have changed over the years is, from the old school days, is like we didn't used to add many healthy fats in there. So obviously you add carbohydrates, but also add in some healthy fats. And also I'm big on adding in like fermented foods now as well, like sauerkraut and stuff. So yeah, not a lot's changed, Conrad. It's protein, carbs, fat. Add some healthy fats in there. Get a bit of fermented vegetables in there. Try and get a bit of fruit and vegetables in, basically for the micronutrients, because everybody bangs on about macros, don't they, but they forget about micros. This is why I'm not a big fan of the if it fits your macros kind of diet. You can get 50 grams of carbs from a donut. I know you can match the calories or whatever, but the micronutrients is just massively different from like single ingredient food. And I'm not trying to sound like Eddie Abu here.
No.
Have a little fun, guys. Have a donut on the weekend, but don't meet your needs by eating fucking shit foods. Pardon my French.
Yeah. I think, no, you're quite right, but I think it's how you feel as well. You can't really have something like a Burger King fit your macros and then go and train. You're just not going to feel good on that. And it's, again, if you're not fueling right, then your sessions are going to be pretty poor on the back of it, aren't they, really? So
yeah, and one big thing that people, I think, really neglect is hydration. It's something I've kind of neglected this year because I haven't been eating as regularly, so I haven't been drinking as regularly, and definitely it affects your performance in the gym. So yeah, that's one thing I think a lot of people underestimate is the hydration aspect as well. Again, very basic. I'll actually give a tip on that one because
Please, yeah.
I had some stomach issues, let's say digestion issues leading up to one contest, and I was drinking like at least a gallon of water a day. And I went to see a lady, I won't say what it was about, certain procedure we'll say. And she's like, oh yeah, you're severely dehydrated. And I was like, how? Because I'm drinking all this water type of thing. But what I would do is I would just eat a meal and then smash a litre of water in, then just go to the bathroom. So you just kind of flush it out. So she says, yeah, like, you know, try not drink so much in one go. Also add a little sea salt, a little sodium to your water as well. And she gave me the advice of try not to drink with the meal because it, you know, it dilutes the stomach acid. So if anybody is having any digestive issues, try and drink between meals, like 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after. Try not to drink with the meal. And yeah, drink a lot of fluid, but make sure you're adding either some hydration product in there or some sodium, because you're just gonna kind of pass it out type of thing.
It's very interesting. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I was severely dehydrated on a gallon of water.
Well, I like that. No, it's yeah, I'll be honest, I've never heard that one, but as I say, it's strange enough I've not been the best this week, so maybe I'll have to look at that. So thank you very much.
That'll be the gin, Conrad. Gin kind of dehydrates you as well.
So, of course, you still do some coaching. You pretty much always had your hand in with the kind of the coaching and the PT side of things. Of course, we see now a lot of coaches preaching about systems and this and that, but what kind of things do you have in place for helping clients move forward? Are you focusing more on accountability, or do you just kind of trust people a little bit more to get the work done?
Coaching is always on accountability, isn't it? Even if someone's had a bad week, I will have them check in, or even if they're on holiday, just send me, you don't have to send all of your pictures and stuff, or just send me an email. And I kind of go on the premise that you've got to rely on your guys maybe doing it at least 80-85% of what you say, because there will be people who will stray a little bit, and you know, they're not going to tell you they've had a wagon wheel on Friday night and all that kind of stuff. And you're not really going to know, are you? Unless it's like a contest setting where you can see things like daily changes and stuff. But in a lifestyle or an off-season bodybuilder type thing, yeah, it's just got to be trust both ways, hasn't it? And that's kind of the way I kind of frame it, is that they've got to be doing at least like 80-85%. But it's a tough one, isn't it? Because a lot of people. The one I don't understand is when I'll get messages from people and they'll say, "Oh, my coach is shit," whatever, and I'll just tell them if they're doing a shit job. Tell them, don't tell me. You know, you're paying that guy. I literally know people who pay coaches but just don't do what they say. You're kind of wasting your money and your time and the coach's time. Maybe they've got limited slots or whatever, and because there is coaches out there who have limited slots. I don't coach a lot of people at one time, Conrad, because I'm so busy with all the other stuff I do. Yeah. I think the most people I've ever coached at one time is like 15 people type of thing. So, you know, you're wasting your coach's time, you're wasting your time and money. Try another coach, and your coach shouldn't be offended by that either. If you say, hey, I don't think this is working out, you know, I want to part ways. I think a lot of people are just scared to say, which is crazy. Yeah. You're paying for a service, and you're not kind of maximising the benefits of it.
So, no, I agree. And as I say, I think sometimes it can just be, even if you don't connect with that person as well, it can be the thing of like different personalities and things like that. So take it professionally, not personally, is I think probably the thing to say with some people.
Yeah, and the way I coach, I kind of, you know, you kind of work as a team. It's not that I send over an email with all these absolutes. And so I'll go, take a look at that. Is there anything that we could change that'll suit your schedule a bit better, or type of thing, or can we adjust this? Yeah, you have to have some rigidity there, so they don't just change everything. I do remember one competitive guy, I sent him over his initial kind of template, he literally changed like everything. I was like, why are you hiring me for? Like, I'm not trying to say I know better than you, but you've literally changed every single aspect, so we might as well just call it a day there type of thing.
No, certainly. And when people come to you and say that they want to change, is there anything that you kind of assess them on, in terms of like, are they actually going to really get stuck in and do the work?
What do you mean by assess them on, Conrad?
Just any particular questions that you may be asked to just make sure they're actually ready to do it. They're not just wasting your time by saying, oh, you know, I want to change? Is there anything you kind of look at mindset wise and see what you really want to do in terms of achieving the goals?
I mean, not mindset wise initially, because let's say it's a stranger, you know, you're not going to build that relationship up straight away where you're going to dive deeply into their mind. I have like a 25 point like questionnaire that's got some various questions in there. They'll answer all that type of stuff. You know, I'll send them over a template to start with, and we just basically take it from there. You know, generally, if you've got somebody who like says, oh, you know, I don't really want to send you some pictures or something, or that's a bit of a red flag, because I understand that you're out of shape and you don't want to send like your start pictures, but we have to do that. We have to be very open and very honest of where you are and where you want to go, type of thing. So that's literally the only way to do it, is be accountable, send those first set of pictures, which might not be pretty, but hey, then we'll work on that and look back on those and think, hey, you did it, type of thing. I am very lucky that I've never really had any like time wasters on. I've only ever parted with just like one person, just because I knew he wasn't doing what I was asking of, and I just said, hey, for the same reason I've just said before, let's not waste your time and mine and your money. There's lots of coaches out there who will just continue to take your money, thumbs up, hey, great week, keep going, type of thing. Yeah, I'm not that guy.
No, it's neither am I. As I say, I've had kind of a few where I've had to say I don't really think it's working. I mean, as I say, it's yes, you kind of lose an income, but it's almost you want results, but more importantly, you almost feel a little bit dishonest if you keep taking folks' money and they're not
100%.
Not doing what you say, you know.
Definitely, 100%.
Certainly. So, of course, yourself, you've gone from, you know, athlete, and now it's the thing of being sort of business owner, need to be present on social media, things like that. And how did you find that shift from, say, going from almost like kind of how things have changed so much in the last few years with the rise of social media and things like that? How have you managed that shift to be able to do it?
I first started on social media on Facebook. Facebook was the first one, type of thing. When I picked up my sponsorship with Pharma Freak, I had an athlete. Well, I've still got an athlete page on there. I just don't go on Facebook much at all, because it just went downhill a little bit. It was just sort of like went a bit negative, didn't it, Facebook, and it was full of like, hey, it's just me and the kids now and all that stuff. But I think it's kind of taken a little bit of a turn in the tide. But yeah, Facebook. I started on Facebook because I had obligations with Pharma Freak to post so often and all that stuff, and I opened a YouTube because I had to post two YouTube videos. Then they asked me to open Instagram and stuff. The social media thing is a tough one, isn't it? Because it has many benefits, but it also has many pitfalls. It's like, it's destroying a lot of people's mental health. Luckily, I've never had that where I've had that comparison thing. I never go on there and say, oh, I wish I had the arms like that. I wish I had like, you know, whatever. Luckily, touch wood, I've never had that, but I understand people who are like that. It must be tough. And let's face it, like 90% of it's fake on there. But yeah, sorry, I'm drifting off a little bit there.
No.
I do stay active on Instagram, and we are going to open up a group on Facebook. Actually, I've literally just replied to a message there on my Instagram. Brilliant. Some guy had said, you know, are you guys going to release something that's going to help us guys who are getting lost with all this information? Like, we need some advice, because there's so much info out there, isn't there? It's like, the internet's great, and it's like, this was a quote from a friend of mine. There's so much information out there, it's not really educating everybody, it's kind of confusing them now, because it's just from every angle, isn't it? Then you got all these rage bait videos, and it's kind of a bit silly, isn't it, really? I think it just needs pulling back.
Yeah. And if anything, I think it's probably going to only get worse. There's more and more coming out that I'm seeing, and I try and make what I do. The first thing I think is, would I watch this? You know, I think at first a lot of it was content for content's sake. Now I'm kind of think, well, is this actually relatable? And I've actually gone, or it's sometimes came up with conversation. Some of my clients have actually said, why did you reach out to me on Instagram, and why am I coaching you? And it's, for me, usually it's a thing of being relatable or funny videos, the things where I've done sort of the more workout based stuff, things like that. That's not really got us anywhere. It was the same when I did the mindset stuff. I really enjoyed doing mindset videos and talk about that, and even in like the newsletter, things like that, I'll do the mindset, things like that, but it doesn't really actually get us anywhere. As much as I actually enjoy that, people want to say the laughing and joking, the prattling about CoachCon, I used to be a fat bastard. That's actually what they want, whereas I don't always wake up on a morning and think, you spin me round that song I always use on top of the videos and want to do that. Sometimes I do want to. I mean, as I say, I've just actually done a podcast episode this afternoon just on my own that is very much sort of mindset. It's not laughing and joking.
Yeah.
I know already the reels I make out of that won't do very well. Unfortunately, just won't, because that's not what my audience kind of get, even though I enjoy doing it.
Social media is very tough now. I don't know if you were recording earlier when we were talking about it, and you said, it's just some basic serious questions, and I said, well, it won't get any engagement then because there's no kind of controversy. And honestly, I could go on Instagram tonight and I could post something that I know would blow up. If I put something like an absolute in there and said, you have to do this or you're a dickhead, then people would start arguing in the comments. Instagram pushes us to the top. So I've always kept mine. It's basically my personality. Sometimes I'm serious on there. Sometimes I might have a mess around on there. I cannot be that fake bullshit. Like, I used to doing it, even if I did make more money, or just cause arguments in the comments and stuff. It's just not me at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes they do cause arguments, but not on purpose. I mean,
intentionally, yeah.
Yeah,
certainly.
just like, but yeah, if you want to get good traction on there, you just argue with people, and your Instagram will blow up. But it's just not my cup of tea.
No, I agree. No, mine. It's just I try and sort of. I think for me, with content, it's very much like, does this help anyone? Even if I am sort of laughing and joking, obviously that's just a part of my personality. It's not a character or anything like that. But I still try and think, but does this help anyone? And as I say, I think the other thing as well is, even if I put like a picture on there, of course I did a bit of a photo shoot at the back end of June. I was fairly pleased with what I did, certainly from where I started. When you
did really well. Big props. You did well.
No, I appreciate that. But even when I've posted those pictures, I've still tried to add some value underneath. It's not been like, just done these pictures with Luke, look at this. It's been, I've tried to still put a little bit in there and always have the encouragement of like, if I've done this, if I've done photo shoot, ultra marathon, all this kind of stuff, then you can do it as well. It almost trying to put what I'd want to hear, because you know me, I'm one of these. I like a bit of an arm round. Well, you can do it as well. So I almost, it's not that I'm writing them to myself, but I kind of think, how would I relate to this?
Yeah, you're just a normal person who's put some graft in, and you can relate to that. Not everybody's a genetic freak. Not everybody's got a Lamborghini from when they left school. That's all I want. I just, there's some guy, went to the gym, did a bit of training, got a little bit better at it. I never thought I would have a gym. I remember getting the first Hammer Strength catalogue at like 18 years old, looking at the prices, thinking, Jesus Christ, like, this is not going to be possible. Like, fucking, what the hell? Because Hammer Strength back then wasn't even in the UK. I wanted to be the first gym to have it, type of thing. I think we were the second. But you just write some shit down, just follow it through. And, I am big on that as well, writing stuff down, not putting it in your phone, not putting it where just write it down, and it's great to look back on as well. I always look back at my old journals and stuff, and I'm scribbling stuff in, and I think I still have the original Hammer Strength catalogue. But just, you never know. Like, if you just get your head down, I hate this word, it's so cliche, but stay consistent, but it's true. You're going to have some bullshit along the way, trust me. Like, my first gym was supposed to open in June this summer, and we didn't open until November the 26th because there was a delay on the machines, and I'm thinking, shit, like, what? I was sitting behind the counter like nobody's coming in because it was pissing down with rain. But hey, it worked out in the end, just you just got to dig your heels in it and just keep going. And everybody has those days where you think, fuck this, man, I'm sick of this shit. And maybe you do have a day where you fall off the wagon, but hey, just hop back on the next day. That's the worst thing everybody does, is I've messed Monday up, so let's just sack the week off. And before you know it, you've wasted like 30 weeks of the year.
Certainly, no. We see it all the time, unfortunately, but hopefully content we make like this maybe gives people a bit of a hand to help them. So just before we kind of wrap up, just a couple of sort of quick fire questions, if you like. So, of all the supplements that's out there in terms of health, everything like that, what one supplement do you think's actually worth it if you maybe just had to pick one?
Obviously, I wouldn't say atomic bomb, but that would be just a shameless plug. Creatine monohydrate, just basic creatine monohydrate. It's been proven like for decades now, and especially the last year or two, they're even showing like studies that's helping like Alzheimer's and stuff and everything. And so yeah, basic creatine monohydrate. It doesn't have to be one of the fancy esters or all the crazy mixes and stuff. Just basic creatine monohydrate. That would be number one.
Fabulous.
If you want me to pick one.
Yeah. So that's great. And then what would you say is the most underrated recovery habit?
Everybody lacks on sleep, don't they? You've got to get your sleep. And I'm bad for it as well. I'll be sitting on the evening and I'm like, oh yeah, I might have a half an hour on TikTok. And it ends up being like an hour 20 and stuff. So yeah, just put the phone on one side, get yourself to bed. An extra half an hour every night of sleep is like 3.5 hours a week. Add that up over the months. But yeah, I think because I have a sleep score on my check-ins and everybody's always like a 5, 6 or whatever. Like, yeah, life gets busy and you need a bit chill time in the evenings and stuff. But yeah, just try and get some sleep, guys. Like, a bit of extra sleep all adds up at the end of the month, and that's something I am really working on, to be fair. Because I have a hard time switching off on the evenings.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're the same, Conrad.
Yeah, definitely. It's
team stress head.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like I say, I think for me, supplementing a little bit with ashwagandha to help just in terms of stress. I think, to be fair, I think you put me onto that actually, and that's been good for helping me. And I think a little bit of magnesium on a night's useful as well. Would you say there's anything else that kind of helps on sleep?
There is some really good peptides, and I actually had a meeting with a guy on, was it Friday or Thursday? Thursday, I think it was, Connor. I had a meeting with a friend of mine. He's into peptides and stuff, and I've never been a big fan of peptides, etc. And I was speaking to him, and he was kind of hooked on sleep meds and stuff due to some issues or whatever. And he said he's literally off all of his sleep meds. I won't rhyme them off on the podcast.
No.
I'll actually send you a WhatsApp of the list that I've kind of got coming along the way. And he said he's basically like sleeping like a baby just from these few peptides, which are perfectly legal. Nothing kind of. Wow. So yeah, I'll give you some info on that, Connor, because we are the SA Team Stresshead.
Certainly, no, thank you very much. And I think with that side of things, even though I'm particularly dabbled in anything sort of like that, I think it's useful to know about these things as well. Certainly from when you get even different clients coming to you and saying, oh, have you heard about this? You want to know what it is and what it does so you can advise. You don't want to just kind of be caught on something, do you? So that's very useful. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, if you're talking basic supplement-wise, Zenamine and a bit of melatonin. Actually, I think melatonin might be illegal in the UK now, but you can still get a hold of it. It's not like it's not like a class A drug or anything, but yeah.
No, I don't think you can get addicted to that, fortunately, which is good.
Yeah.
And the last one I would say is, what would you say is the best physique of all time, in your opinion?
Are we going on the bodybuilding route here?
Let's do. We'll do bodybuilding, and we'll do, say, maybe in general, someone who maybe is kind of between us.
You know, I'm going to go with Dorian Yates as in bodybuilding. I was always drawn towards Dorian Yates just because of that style of training, and like I always liked people who pretty much came from nothing. You know, don't get me wrong, like Phil Heath's got an amazing physique, but I just can't relate to that as absolute genetic freak. And don't get me wrong, Dorian Yates was a genetic freak because he made it to the Olympia stage and won the Olympia, but yeah, it was just kind of physique / mindset that attracted me to the Dorian Yates kind of look, that nasty kind of. You can tell that physique like worked hard in the gym. That gnarly kind of dense look. Yeah,
certainly one that I think we know is certainly Dorian's story as well, which again, that would be a podcast in itself with the great man, but his rise was just a real story of hard work, wasn't it? He documents a lot of it in his book, doesn't he, where he's saying like, where obviously from that rough kind of beginning all the way to winning the Olympia, was it six in a row you got, Dorian?
Yeah, 6. I mean, Dorian was still sleeping on a mattress on the floor when he was British champion, so just goes to show, guys, you don't need all the bells and whistles and stuff. You just need to work hard. I know that sounds really cheesy, but it is. That is the core of it, isn't it?
Certainly. Well, Anth, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for making this happen. So for those of you who don't know as well, I don't even know if you know this one, Anth, but when I first had the idea of the podcast, I thought, I want to get Anth on, and we've been able to do that, so thank you very much. I hope we can maybe organise one, maybe in another, I don't know, 5 years' time, we'll get
if I'm still breathing,
we'll
Conrad.
all in with the training.
Once you're famous and you've got like 5 million subscribers and you're making money like Mr. Beast, you can get me on, Conrad. But no, thanks for having me. Sorry it took so long to get me on here. And I think episode 14, did you say?
That's us. 14 weeks in, we haven't missed a week.
You've got to get to at least 100 before you start being a podcaster. So keep going, man, and good luck with it all. And I'm sure it'll all pay off in the end. Yeah.
You're very kind. Thank you very much. So the last one, say if anyone wants to, reach out to you, connect with you, where is sort of the best place that they can reach you?
Honestly, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. I generally try and get back to everybody I can, even if it's just a short message, or it might be like a week late, but I will get back to you on there eventually.
Fabulous. Thank you ever so much for your time, Anth. It's been a pleasure. Take care of yourself, and for everyone else.
Thanks for having me, Conrad.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, mate.
See you in the next one. Thank you.
I'll probably see you tomorrow.
Excellent.
All right, catch you later.